Palworld is home to a plethora of amazing and very strong pals, especially with this brand new 1.0 update. But what if you weren't able to use any of them? What if you had to scrape the bottom of the barrel with the weakest pals in the game? Could you beat all 7 daunting towers? Well, that's what we're here to find out. Quick disclaimer, this was all recorded just before the release of 1.0. Hence only 7 towers, not 8. Every pal has a base stat total. I use this list to give me my potential partners for this run. The first 4 were decided for me. At the very bottom of the barrel is actually a tie between Sui and Chicopee, with a total of 180. Next on the list, with 10 points more, is Killamari sitting at a total of 190. After Killamari is Fuddler, with only 5 points higher at 195. Now, for the final pal being added to the team, there was a 3-way tie between Fwack, Mao, and Tfant, with a base stat total of 200. It was a tough decision, but I ended up picking Mao. I did this because at the time, I was thinking I would use them and only them. If I chose Mao, I'd have access to unlimited money due to its ability of leaving coins when at the ranch. Ultimately, that did not matter because I later decided that I didn't hate myself that much to play like that. I could use other pals, but they could only be used at the base. After figuring out which pals I'd be dealing with, it was then time to decide on the passive skills I'd want for them. There are a ton of potential skills, each with their own unique uses. Going into this challenge, I had Demon God, Serenity, Diamond Body, and Musclehead in mind. However, I'd be open to changing depending on whatever is found first. With all that established, it's time to get this challenge going. When making my character, I thought to myself, what character is often seen as pretty weak? Suddenly, good old Hercule popped into my mind, and I said, yeah, that's the one. My first course of action was to build a base and start rounding up my new best buddies. Thankfully, our first pal is Chicopee, and there are tons of them roaming around the first area. Funny enough, my second Chicopee had a rainbow skill in Master of Fasting. Just after that, I caught one with Artisan, Workaholic, and Heart of the Immovable King. Crazy luck, but unfortunately none of which are good for battling, so that one claims a permanent spot in the ranch. After catching a bunch more chickens, I figured it was time to go searching for a new teammate. I found a dungeon near the first boss tower to go exploring in. In my search, I stumbled across a Killamari. However, this one won't be joining the team as it was being stingy by not staying in the sphere and then almost bodying me. I'll come back when it isn't being so rude.
Hi, pumpkin!
When I stopped by my base to get some more material, a couple Chicopees walked by. So I decided to catch them. Thankfully I did because one of them had Diamond Body, giving that pal a 30% defense boost, our first permanent passive. After some exploring and leveling up, I wanted to just test how capable my current team of all Chicopees were doing. I headed over to the Chillet Alpha boss and, well, yeah, more training needs to be done. I won't go over every single alpha because once I get the team together and operational, most are kind of a breeze. After that, I got some more XP to level up. I returned to base to hear a beautiful sound. The sound of a lucky pal nearby. For those unaware of what a lucky pal is, they are a bigger version of that pal and have the passive called Lucky. This grants them a 15% boost in attack and work speed. I tracked down the source of this wonderful sound to find a lucky Chicopee. I caught him and named him Big Ben. I also named a couple of other Chicopees to remind myself which ones had which passive skills. For example, the one with Diamond Body was Rihanna, and the one with Burly Body was Bertha. I decided here that Lucky would be one of my permanent passives, giving us 2 out of 4 so far. Nice. During one of the nights of exploring, I came across a Syndicate Thug base. They will have a trapped pal that you can free and it joins you automatically. This one happened to be one of the ones I was looking for. A Sui. Too bad this one has Mercy Hit for a passive. That means it will always leave the opponent on 1 HP. Still, nice to have. With some more levels and better equipment, I went back to re-challenge Chillet. I was also packing a couple of Gigaspheres that I found in a supply drop case. This time I was able to defeat Chillet by capturing it. With that success, I wanted to try catching Killamari again. I headed on over to the same cave and found my target. This time, Killamari accepted its fate and joined us, with only one sphere. I even managed to catch one with a passive Serenity. This gives the PAL a 10% buff to attack, and, more importantly, a 30% reduction to our attack cooldowns, allowing them to use their attacks more frequently. Our third permanent passive has been acquired. I finished up the dungeon and claimed my rewards. I immediately headed back to my base to start crafting perhaps the most important item of the run, the Killamari gloves. Due to us not having any sort of rideable pals, traveling is gonna be kinda rough. These gloves enhance our glider, allowing us to stay airborne longer. We'll combine these gloves with our grappling hook we'll get later for a faster way of traversing the lands and over waters. Once they were crafted, I named my Sui Floof and named my Killamari Squishy. After upgrading the base some, I ventured out to gain more XP. During this expedition, I found some more chickapees wandering around a skill fruit tree. Each fruit on the tree contains a different attack. The beauty of these skill fruits is that no matter what the element type is, they can be taught to any PAL. This helps give diversity to your PAL's move pool, which will be crucial for us later on. I figured it was time to track down some more Sui, seeing how the only one I had wasn't able to take anything out on its own. I knew of the Alpha Sweepa, which always has a posse of Suis around it. Once I found it, I got right to work with Big Ben. Wouldn't you know it, the second Sui I caught also had Mercy hit. Like, what? Crazy. Thankfully, I caught the rest of them along with their head honcho Sweepa. I finally had a few options for Sui without Mercy hit. Now that I've reached a high enough level, it was time to create the PAL Condenser. This will help increase my PAL stats by taking the souls of unneeded PALs and fusing them into better ones. Very Namekian of us. This will be crucial for later bosses, as any bit of extra power we can get, the better. I had leveled up the base enough to grant us a second location. I spent some time scoping out potential areas for my breeding base. I finally landed on this cute small island just northwest of the Alpha Felbat. I set up my base and let my wood chopping pals go crazy to help clear the space. This area here will give us basically unlimited wood and fiber, so that's nice. I went ahead and set up my pal breeding farm. I got a second ranch set up along with some berry and wheat fields. I caught a Mazzarina and bee guard for milk and honey. Now I have all the ingredients I'll need for unlimited cakes. Yippee! After getting those set up, I hatched a dark egg I found. It turned out to be a Mao. Perfect. I now have 4 out of the 5 pals for endgame. Next was moving my egg incubator, pal condenser, and mill over to the second base to make things easier to get to. This base is now completely set up for the mass breeding task ahead of me. I felt it was time to go pay Zoe and her Griswold a visit at the first boss tower. I was slightly overleveled, so she wasn't too much trouble. The first tower has been conquered. 1 down, 6 to go. Success! Now that the breeding base is functional, I headed out to go track down the last member of the crew. I found a cave nearby and went inside. It was here that I finally encountered a few fuddlers. I even came across some more Killamaris and Maus. After completing that dungeon, I spent some time fighting alphas, crafting, and gathering some better eggs for better working pals. It was a while later before I saw a couple of chickapees wandering close to the first base. Of course, I couldn't just let them walk away, so I ran after them and caught them. Gotcha, bitch! Luckily I did, because one of them had Musclehead. This raises the pal's attack by 30%, but decreases their work speed by a whopping 50%. That's okay though, the only work they'll be doing is whooping some tower boss butt. That's 4 very solid passives to have for my little warriors. With all 4 passives in my possession, in some capacity, it was time to start the mass breeding process to get all 4 passives on all 5 of my pals. I went out searching for the perfect pal to help bake all the cakes I'll ever need with a good work speed, because lord, do cakes take eons to make without a proper pal. My search was successful as I found and hatched one of the best fire pals, Yormintide Ignis. While waiting for eggs to be produced, I decided to go grab the waypoint to Faybreak. Now I don't have a water mound, so I had to get a bit creative with my solution. Full disclosure, I'm pretty sure I did see someone else do this. I feel like it was megabits, but not 100%. Anyways, after I grabbed the waypoint, I skedaddled back to safety because at my current level, everything here will choose violence and murk me. I find my way to another island with a broken ship. There are pals that live there that will help out immensely with XP gain. Floopy. This goopy pal drops its tentacles after being caught or defeated. Cooking these tentacles give the player a boost in XP for a certain period of time. Plus, they make great watering pals due to them being naturally nocturnal. Once I got enough of these, I made a nice meal and headed back to Murder Island to try to snatch up some more powerful pals via eggs for base work. With some more levels, I felt confident enough to conquer the second tower boss. I climbed some snowy mountains to meet and challenge Lily and her Lylene. Things got a bit dicey at one point, but luckily my team of scrappy pals and I pulled through, claiming our second victory.
Success!
While waiting for the perfect pals to arrive, I spent some time taking down some alpha pals.
One eternity later.
The chosen one was born. Big Betty. Even if she wasn't large in size, her fighting spirit was. It was here that I also realized that Mao and Butler didn't have proper names, so I named them Noir and Molly respectively. Thankfully, all of these pals have some sort of inner connection with each other when it comes to breeding, which means I can use some of the offspring with only a couple of the correct passives to make the process somewhat shorter. I chose to go for Mao next, and actually it was the very first egg I hatched after leaving my freshly hatched Big Betty with a plain Lamball. I decided to change Noir to Shadow once I saw the gender swap. My Sui, Floof, would be perfected next using Shadow and a plain Rushor. My luck continues with the second egg hatched being the perfect Floof. After that, my Killamari Squishy will be up next to reach perfection. I had to go out and find a Gobfin to use with Shadow. I had hoped for a plain one, but found one with Musclehead, so that'll work just fine. This was another very lucky first egg hatch that gives us a perfect Killamari. The final child next to be perfected was Fuddler, using Big Betty along with a Loop Moon. Unfortunately, I didn't have any plain Loop Moons, so it was taking a bit for the chosen one to appear. I did, however, get a Fuddler with 3 out of the 4 skills, and another with a missing one. I decided to throw them into the breeding farm instead. It ended up being like the 11th egg that gave us the golden child, Dig Dug. Like Thanos, I finally collected all of my perfect pals. The last thing I needed before my team is fully prepared to conquer the remaining towers are the souls of their kin. I placed some of the rejects back in the breeding farm to produce poor sacrificial lambs.
Oh yay! I'm a sacrifice!
With enough tributes, it was time to challenge Axel and his Orzurk at the top of the volcano. While I was waiting for the breeding process to finish, I got some more levels and skill fruits to widen my pal's move pool. I feel fairly confident to take Axel down. With some type advantages between Dig Dug and Big Betty's ice moves, Axel and his Orzhov were defeated with little to no issue. 3 down, 4 to go.
Success!
Feeling invigorated by this swift defeat, I flew over to the Desert Tower where Marcus and his Phalaris reside. I do have Squishy with type advantage, and at this point, a plethora of move options at my disposal. Watch out, Marcus, here we come. Now, the battle was actually going really well. With just under 6 minutes left on the clock, he was already under 5k in health. Things are looking like a back-to-back... Never mind. I wasn't able to dodge his fireball attack and went down. That's okay, because he was almost defeated with plenty of time left. I reflect on my dear old coach's sage advice.
Then you've got to learn the 5 Ds of dodgeball. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. If you master the 5 Ds, no amount of balls on earth can hit you.
I returned for round 2 shortly afterwards. This time around, I was able to use coach's advice to keep myself up long enough for the fight to end how it should have the first time. Thanks, coach. Tower 4 has fallen.
Success!
I wanted to test my mettle against Victor and his Shadowbeak, just to see how much more training we'd need to do, if any. I reached the peak of the snowy mountains and prepared my squad for battle. As expected, Victor wasn't going to go down without a fight, and he was a little too much for us to handle at this very moment. Most of my team went down before I finally fell too. He still had around 31k in health, with just over 1 minute to spare. I don't think that attempt was too bad or too far off. I was going to need to level up some more before challenging him again. I decided to go explore the Terraria dungeon for actually the first time ever playing this game. There, I found some very good schematics that will be crucial to this run's success. I did give Victor another attempt, but again, no luck. I did get further than the last time, so that's progress. He was just under 11k with 3.5 minutes left. It's doable, just a bit more finesse. After my pals recovered and ammo replenished, I went back for another attempt. 3rd time's the charm, right? It was a good fight for sure, and I was feeling confident. Soon enough, Victor and Shadowbeak finally fall. And then there were 2.
Success!
Before attempting the last 2 towers, it was time to craft perhaps the most valuable weapon in this run. A rare version of the Terra Prisma. This sword is actually bonkers. I fell in love with this terrifying beauty. If you don't know what this sword is, it is a sword that is able to summon 9 other spectral swords that follow you and automatically attack nearby enemies. I could glide around an enemy all while dealing damage to them without aiming. This tactic would prove very valuable in these last couple towers. After some more grinding, it was time to give Seiya and Celine a try. We didn't even do that much damage before Celine unleashed her big dick beam and absolutely wrecked me. I just thought I wasn't being agile enough with my grappling hook and glider, so I gave it another go. It started off decent, and I even managed to live her first moonbeam by grapple gliding my way out of there. It did graze me a bit, so it wasn't a total clean getaway. Unfortunately, with my shield down, she caught me mid-switch with one of her ice attacks and downed me. My third and fourth attempts were just about the same as the first. That goddamn beam attack is actually insane. I licked my wounds and headed back to do some more exploration, and eventually upgrade my armor.
Nice.
With my new armor equipped, I went back to Celine to see if this would make a difference. Do you think this new armor will be what tips the fight in my favor? Go on, make a guess. I'll wait. Well, if you said no, then you'd be absolutely correct. Great job, here's your gold star. If you said yes, then I appreciate your optimism and your confidence in me. I was definitely starting to need it with this godforsaken fight with this moon bitch. At this point, I needed to re-strategize. Head deep into the mountains to train my pals and I in the art of slaying the very moon itself. And by this I mean head to the internet to find some sort of cheese. I was actually surprised to learn that if you glide or even just move counterclockwise around Celine while she's unleashing her big dick beam, you can avoid it much easier. I honestly can't remember why this is the case, but hey, I wasn't gonna complain. With this newfound knowledge, I gave her another attempt. Number 6, by the way. This time around, I was actually doing pretty good. I was avoiding her death beams and dealing solid damage. I got a bit too hasty, however, and while I was trying to do damage with my rocket launcher, one of her AoE attacks got me. I saw a circular range of attack and I thought I was in the clear, but then the attack expanded outwards and that's what got me. I didn't feel nearly as defeated as the previous attempts. I'm on the right track for sure now. I just needed a little extra oomph. So I did what I probably should have done a while ago. Make a nice hearty meal. Mammoris curry to be exact. Now that my pals and I are feeling invigorated and have some extra self-healing, thanks to some high-quality recovery meds, it was time to finally bring down this menace once and for all. My main goal was to let my pals handle most of the damage, while I zipped around, not staying still long enough for them to really do damage to me. I would also keep my pals alive by rotating them around. This was a whole team effort, and we weren't going to let them beat us again. Soon enough, the moon has finally fallen, and victory is ours.
Success!
Lucky number 7. Speaking of 7, we have one final tower to bring down. If you thought Seiya and Celine were absolute beasts, well, Bjorn and Bastigor would be actual demons in comparison. My pals and I are going to have to dig deep for this next one. I started to grow my own skill fruit tree using the skill fruit Volcanic Rain, a powerful fire attack that would be very effective against Bastigor's ice typing. I then spent some time leveling up by slaying some of the alpha pals in Fabric. I was almost level 60 and thought I'd just test the waters with Bjorn and Bastigor. Well, was I in for a little surprise? As soon as I entered, I noticed they had allies? What was this fuckery? Why were there Fabric soldiers in here? It was then that I realized, oh damn, I think I accidentally clicked hard mode. Yep, that was indeed the reason. Oops.
Flashback.
The tower's door, I was cycling through to get to my Terra Prisma with my triangle button. Well, that also happens to be the same button you press to put the tower on hard mode. I got too close to the door while changing weapons and I didn't even notice it.
End of flashback.
The battle ended how you probably guessed it would. After recovering a bit, it was actually time to test the waters. Let's try this for realsies. It started off not too bad. My pals were dealing some fire attacks, while I supported them with my Terra Prisma. Because I didn't know all of his attacks, I got jumped by his jump attack. I wasn't feeling too defeated yet, so I gave him the run back. We got his health down further than last time, but another one of his explosion attacks got me, even though I felt like I was out of range. I don't think it honestly mattered too much, seeing how he still had 300k in health, and I only had 3.5 minutes left. I decided to leave it be for the time being. I harvested some more fire skill fruits from both my farm and from Faybreak. Once I got to level 60, I went back for a rematch with those frosty bastards. The extra couple levels and a few more fire attacks were starting to show. I have also noticed that my Terra Prisma lasts for about half of the battle, so that's not great. I thought the assault rifle would help out some, but if I'm not gliding around, I'm vulnerable. This, of course, leads to another death. You know how they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result? Well, I must be insane, because after I crafted a new helmet, I thought, yeah, this will help my survival. Spoiler alert, it did, in fact, not help with my survival. He did get a lucky freeze on me, which left me helpless. So I went one more time thinking that it was just a fluke. I did get him down lower and was even surviving, sure, but I couldn't keep the constant damage up. So the battle ended with our first time limit loss. I was running low on my hallowed bars to repair my Terra Prisma, so I visited the Terraria dungeon again. Little did I know, it would be this visit that would give me the glimmer of hope needed to finally bring down the final tower and bring an end to this challenge. But my two final brain cells wouldn't brush together to spark this idea right this moment. Until then, I bashed my head against the wall that is Bjorn and Bastigor again, hoping something would finally give. Not once, but twice. After those two failed attempts, I returned to base nearly defeated. Suddenly, those two lonely brain cells finally collided, giving me an insane idea. If one Terra Prisma would only last half the battle, what if I brought two Terra Prismas? I went over to the weapons assembly line to craft another one of these beauties. But that was when I discovered what that schematic I just found back in the Terraria dungeon actually was. The Vortex Beater. An insane assault rifle that not only fires homing missiles, but also has a 66% chance to not consume ammo. Like, what? I could suddenly see the light at the end of the tunnel. Bjorn and Bastigor's days are numbered. While gathering and waiting for things to be crafted, my team of adorable bringers of death had basically acquired a full moveset of only fire type attacks. Meaning that no matter what move they used, it was going to hurt like a mofo to Bastigor. With all of that, it was time to get revenge. Well, that would have been the case if my vision wasn't blocked by the damn pillars, preventing me from seeing that Bastigor was targeting me with this attack and not Big Betty. That definitely just had to be a fluke. Just to make sure I was dealing maximum damage, I went to grind at the arena to earn enough battle tickets to buy myself a fire support whistle. This special accessory increases the output of fire damage. We pretty much dog walked every tier, except the master rank. They're pretty wild. With the new accessory in hand, I felt like I was ready to try this final fight again. The fight was going really great, dealing lots of damage, not staying around long in one spot, and keeping my team alive. We got him down to just under 40k. Victory was in sight. Until he clotheslined me with one of his boulder attacks. It spawned literally right in front of me. That was kinda my fault for being so close to him. I repaired my stuff and cooked up some more food before returning for my rematch. My game plan is to keep enough distance that my Terra Prismas can still hit him, while staying out of reach of his attacks. What do you think? Is this going to be the final attempt? Do the optimists from earlier still have faith in me? Well, I think it's time we find out, friends. There you have it. Bjorn and Bastigor have been brought down, and vengeance is ours.
Success!
Were you keeping count of those attempts? If you said 10 attempts, then great job. Here's a gold star for you. Well, with that, our challenge comes to an end. You can indeed beat all 7 towers with pals that have the lowest base stat total. That's the wonderful thing about this game. If you put in enough work, you can beat this game with any pal. So choose your favorites. Now that Update 1.0 is here, there's a new addition to the bottom of the barrel, as well a new tower boss to conquer. We may revisit this challenge in the future, but for now, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to help support your boy by hitting like, commenting, and subscribing. It really does go a long way. Thank you so very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.